Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome back to Hack Outside the Box, Studio on the Go. We are unplugged, but we're live at the AdNec in Abu Dhabi. And with me, I have two very dear friends, Stephanie, aka Nemo, and Tim, two extremely passionate individuals who have had the pleasure of knowing for longer and shorter durations of time, who focus their energies on bringing out-of-the-box thinking, problem-solving, cybersecurity, digital safety to younger minds. They both started out their individual journeys in the Netherlands, and it is time that they bring this worldwide. I've been fortunate to be friends and also to get a view behind the scenes of what they've done. And welcome to the studio, Stephanie. Welcome to the studio, Tim. It's really glad to have you here. And it's glad to actually see you in person.
Finally, yes. So
finally, we've been having calls every week. Two things. It was nice to keep thinking about cybersecurity education and Hack in the Class, but honestly, it was a little therapeutic for me that real life still exists.
Yeah,
my friends still exist.
Yeah.
And it was just nice to even say hi. It kept those weeks going.
Yeah,
it was,
sure.
It was quite a lot of fun.
It was a nice change in the weeks that just kept going.
It was a nice change,
yeah,
yes.
Sure.
Yes, indeed. I think the last we met here was here in the UAE at Hack in the Box Dubai.
Yeah.
Where I got the best opportunity to volunteer for an in-person Hack in the Class session, and I have the certificate signed by you.
Yes, you
which is a prized possession. And to me, actually, that was an eye-opener. It was an eye-opener of what it takes to engage and excite young minds. I've been a cybersecurity trainer, but I've always trained people who have been in the field and who've been practicing it. And after looking at what these folks have done, it seems like my job is too easy. So how did you imagine Hack in the Class? What was the genesis of both your journeys, if you just share with the audience?
Yeah, of course. So for Hack in the Class, I find it very, very important that knowledge should be free, especially for the people who are looking for it. Especially for kids nowadays. There's so much information, there's so much going on, so much distractions. It's also very difficult to find sufficient good information you can trust, that's correct, that it just brings you further. So one of the things with Hack in the Class is to bring that to the kids, make sure that the kids have proper knowledge of whatever is going on in the digital world, maybe what the right and wrong is from hacking when you are doing illegal stuff or when you're staying on the legal side. But also things like phishing or passwords or cyberbullying. These things are going on. We all know it. Especially parents, they know that this is going on. They experience it with the kids, but there is no entity that teaches this to them.
And they don't know what to do with it.
And they don't know.
If you're in it, what resources exist to help? What's the path to take?
Yeah.
How do you get out of such a situation?
Yeah. What do you do as a parent if your kid is behind the computer all day? What do you do? Do you trust your kid? Obviously.
Yeah, I was that kid.
I know.
But
I was a kid too.
When I was a kid, fortunately, my computer was not connected to the internet.
Yeah.
It was just connected to my TV. And I pulled the plug, everything went with it.
Yeah. With Hack in the Class, we bring the knowledge to the kids. We make sure that the kids have the education that they need, no matter where they are. Not only to the Netherlands, but also the whole of Europe, Asia, America, Africa. Every kid around the world should have the basic knowledge how to protect themselves online. That's the main drive for me. Education of kids.
I can see that. And I actually saw that in Amsterdam when I was volunteering to be a photographer for Hack in the Box. And I was taking pictures of Hack in the Class. And that's the first I saw you in action. I thought that, wow, she's a teacher. She's a natural born teacher. And you could see the way that getting the message through the kids and they're solving level by level. So that proved to me that yes, age is not a barrier at all. And we always say we can start at a reasonable age, but I think starting early is
The most important
the most important thing. Tim, would you love to tell the audience about your journey with HackShield? I've only gotten to know you a little bit recently, but it's like the more I've heard of HackShield, it's like it wowed me straight away.
Great to hear. Thanks. Yeah, so HackShield started 5 years ago, I guess. And it started because a lot of different like game developers, creatives, not really cybersecurity experts, but really creatives, designers, filmmakers. We were having a conversation and we were really wondering why we are not getting digital education. There's no digital education for kids. And there were also a lot of programmers, game developers. And we asked them, do you transfer your knowledge to kids? They said, no, not really. So who should do that? Yeah, schools, I think. Do they do it? Oh. So maybe we should do something about it. And then we really dived into the subject. And what I personally find very interesting is that the whole system, like educational system in society, is a little bit broken. Because technology is innovating so fast that we cannot keep up.
I realize that. I mean, we say it's broken, but I think it has just reached a saturation point where they have too much to do, too many expectations, too few resources, and they're stretched thin. Like butter over too much bread, with baggage. But what the point you brought about is a tremendous point. It's a point about knowledge transfer.
Yeah.
Like I have it in my head, you have it in your head, she has it in her head. But we always think it's somebody else's responsibility to transfer it to the generations. Like partly because we have no idea how to do it.
Yeah, and maybe the focus, I'm curious what you think, but sometimes I think the focus is not right. So there's a lot of pressure on trying to transfer a lot of knowledge about a lot of facts.
Yes.
Also in cybersecurity, what for me is a new subject, new world. So it's about, okay, what is relevant now? What should I learn now about phishing, for instance? What kind of phishing is relevant now? But if you want to keep up, then you're completely stressed out because there's too many details and they constantly change. So you know for sure that you're not able to educate them for the world they will be grown-ups in.
Right.
So you should, I think, put a lot more effort in trying to really let them understand the underlying systems, because then you have a lot more time and they will be more future-proof to, in their lives, constantly find themselves all the details and facts they need at that specific moment.
I think you're right. You need to develop a trait.
Yeah, a mindset.
It's a mindset, it's a trait, it's a way of thinking, it's a way of behaving. And this is what's going to last. Techniques will fail. They'll be superseded, they'll be overwritten
Very fast.
very, very fast. I mean, probably, new things will be invented before we wrap up the session. So, yes, it's that trait if it gets in there first.
Yeah. Teach the mindset, show them how to respond to things, or at least do some research.
Yes.
Make sure that, I have not seen this before, but maybe, should I trust this? Should I not trust this? Just give them the tools they need in order to make a decision themselves.
This has been a pet thinking topic of my own. Research, right? And original research, not believing something they just read on the internet or got forwarded by WhatsApp.
Yeah.
How do you validate fact from fiction? And you have to do it yourself. You can't say that, oh, my friend said so, or this has been forwarded 80,000 times, ergo it must be true. Because if a lie is told 1,000 times, it becomes truth.
Yeah.
And that is actually the growing worry I personally have.
Yeah.
This is where disinformation starts.
Yeah, and also I think there is this feeling we have to know the truth. We have to know it, and at some point, and often there is not a real truth.
Yeah.
There's a range of different perspectives. You should really have the time and trust, because this is really a point I want to make about trust, that you have to find your own opinion, and it's always a choice. And you should really take more time about, okay, if I choose for this truth, what is the impact, for instance, in my life or for the people around me? But the point I find very interesting about trust is that at some point we realize that the thing on the other side of secure, a lot of times now is on safety.
I'm sorry.
So in the cybersecurity world, as being new in this world, you have security, and if you're not secure, it's unsafe.
I see. Yes.
So for me, it was more about you have security and you have insecurity. And what I see with youngsters, but also with grown-ups, is that they feel really insecure. They give up. They don't have the feeling that they are able to catch up. So if you don't do anything about this insecurity, it's the biggest problem you have. And you stop learning.
Yes, I mean, first of all, you're afraid.
Yeah.
Because there's the big bad world out there. You realize that you don't have the tools to cope with it. And this brings on despair.
Yeah.
And when you're in despair mode, you just you surrender, you give up because you feel so helpless. It's like, I can't fight this anymore.
One of the most important things here is to make sure that whatever information is given is simple, it's clear, we have, when you try to explain something technical, in Dutch we say Jip and Janneke, which are like very childish characters from a comic book and also a movie. It's dumb it down as much as you can. Your mom, your dad, your grandparents, they should be able to understand it. And I truly believe that if we can explain a technical subject, or if we can explain phishing or scamming or ransomware or whatever is going on in a simple way to a kid, a kid can also help to teach the parents, teach the teachers as well, and make sure that the whole circle around them is educated as well.
Change the culture.
Change the culture and to actually help the circle around you.
Yeah.
Like, be the champion, be the guy or girl who has your back.
Yeah, this is the reason that HackShield is called HackShield Future Cyber Heroes. So we never saw kids as potential victims, but we saw them as potential heroes that are gonna save the world. And something really interesting happens when you do this, because kids, they start smiling. Even if they don't know a lot, they think they know enough to start exploring difficult, maybe even dark areas, while keeping this alert mindset. Because they know, I know it, but I also don't know it. And if you let them transfer their knowledge to grown-ups will applaud for that. Hey, wow, you know more than I do. So you give them trust. So if you have the idea that this is the opposite of security is insecurity, you give them the secure feeling, then suddenly they start having a learning mode. They are curious. So once I heard a metaphor, it's brilliant. I thought it was brilliant, about a dark garden. So there are people in the house, they're sitting, and outside it's black, pitch dark. Pitch black. So the whole family is afraid of the dark, and the parents are constantly telling the kids, there are alligators outside. So if you go outside, they will probably eat you. And if they don't eat you, there are people they're shooting around. And imagine all day, every day.
Yes.
Okay, so this is crazy. They won't go outside probably, but at some point, somebody will say the house is on fire. So what will they do? They will just run outside. They close their eyes. This is what we're doing now.
Yes.
We're telling everybody every day how unsafe the digital world is. And everybody's like, okay, don't go there. And at the same time, our whole industry, our whole life is digitalized.
Yeah.
So every time there is a little trigger, the house on fire, I have to go. I have to order this. I have to have my online dossier. So people really should stop.
The house on fire is called the coronavirus.
Yeah, for instance.
You know what it did? I mean, I'm a penetration tester as an entrepreneur. We used to do pen tests for organizations. We have to do an internal pen test. We'd always say, hey, why do you want us inside? just give us a VPN. Oh, no, we can't trust you. We can't, getting a VPN approval takes months, and coronavirus, VPN approvals in 30 minutes. Why? What happened? It's the same thing. You didn't suddenly become secure. A switch went off.
No, and they're blind. So it's really a missed opportunity, because if you go outside, then you will notice in some time. First, you don't run, you just stand. Your eyes are getting used to the dark, and suddenly you see, I see a little bit. So you can start walking around, explore the garden, know where the water is. There are no crocodiles, but there is like this snake. You have to be a little bit, So this whole feeling of giving people the feeling that they can really learn to get to know the digital world and they can survive. This is really, we have to be teaching every day instead of, what could be.
Don't click the link. Don't click the link.
You can see clearly now the rain is gone. You can see all obstacles in your way.
There's a cookie message every day. Every time I go to an internet site, it says, you're going to give away all your privacy. Every day. I don't know if it's everywhere, but in our country, every site is like that.
We want your cookies.
I feel messed up every day.
We value your privacy. Yeah, sure. How much money you put on that value?
Yeah, but at the same time, because of this constantly making me, I gave up at some point, and a lot of people gave up. They just click them away because I don't want to read it all the time.
Yeah,
It's the same with user agreements.
It's nagware, right? It just annoy you, so you give up. Surrender. They're training you, training to surrender. But this is a very interesting one. I want to ask both of you. What are your thoughts on countering disinformation? I mean, of course, one of them is to do your original research, right? But that's not enough, because that's now going to be an individual function. And I see disinformation is going to grow. We saw it in action in the US elections. It's in action now with the coronavirus. We've heard everything, my 5G signal is active, and, Bill Gates is controlling them, and whatever, right? Beer gives you coronavirus. You heard it all, and then people believe this. Reality is distorted, beyond black hole dimensions. This is going to grow. Research alone isn't going to cut it. I know you two are the folks who can make it scale.
Yeah, we just released an AR quest. So in our game, kids walk through a completely gamified world. It's like a metaphor of the internet. They can make all the mistakes that you don't want to make in reality because of getting used to the darkness of the garden. Sorry. So we just released a quest with AR elements, and kids walk in the library and they have to find disinformation spreading eggs. They have to find them, and then they have to search for the right information in the library. It doesn't matter what they use, books, computers, whatever. And then they have to destroy it with facts. And the thing that we concentrated on to learn them how to handle disinformation is that we're really trying to explain them. Every information has a source, and behind every source there's an author. And every author has a perspective or even an overtuiging, a goal. So if you read different kind of information about one subject, can you then try to understand why somebody is writing something from out of what perspective? What's the goal for that person? This is really, again, the mindset. So I think this is the most important, constantly trying to grab this.
How do you do your fact checking?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to show kids that, don't take things for granted. Make sure that you double check. Make sure that, if the elephant is gray, make sure to also check that it's not purple or green or, rainbow colors.
Check the negative.
Check the negative. So if you think A, also check B, C, and D. Make sure that, you have all the possible iterations of whatever you're looking for. Because this is how you fact check the things, or that you decide that whatever information you just found may actually not be what you truly believed it was. And this can be a very difficult subjects. I mean, right now with all media outlets, it's getting more and more difficult with search engines that are, giving you a certain
The algorithm.
They are excellent at it. So which is super annoying because it's not the way, it just limits us. It programs your mind a certain way. Well, that's not per se the way we have to go. There's 1,000 other routes we can take. But that's not, we're being guided by technology. Well, we should start thinking again for ourselves. That's one of the things that we also want to teach the kids. Like, think for yourself. Don't let technology think for you.
Right.
But think for yourself. Is this really what you want? Was this really what you were looking for? Have you checked the negative?
Yes. Yeah.
And go have a conversation with people who disagree with you. Because it's very easy to be like, oh, Tim, he always agrees with me. It's nice when you have a nice conversation. But what if Tim has a very different perspective on, how to teach kids, for example? It also shifts my mind. It changes the way I see things. It makes me go take a step further or take a few steps back and, think, was this the right path, or do we have to go take a different direction?
I think there's no real right path. It's just your ability to keep changing.
Yeah.
The moment you stop, you lose the ability to, correct yourself.
Well, there's maybe one thing that we should see as a wrong direction, and that's creating fear.
Yes.
Because even the people I really like and very smart, without even being aware of it, use fear. They spread fear. They say you cannot trust things online, and I think this is you should say, hey, listen, be curious. There are people that are doing things and they want they have a goal, and it's your job to find out what they're trying.
You just described
outsmart them.
You just described me in the first 10 years of my cybersecurity career. I was that fear monger, and I didn't know it. And because I saw the threats, I found it very compelling to go and tell the world that it's all out there, don't do it. But then I realized that I was giving the wrong message. And that's not what the message you want to give. I've personally been guilty, along with a lot of members in the cybersecurity community. We ended up blaming the user for everything. Right? That is not the way to do it. If we look under the covers, it's only a fourth of the typical users who really just don't get it, but the vast majority do get it.
I have a very good point on this. So let's assume we have a phishing email, right? We all tell the users or parents or grandparents, don't click the link.
Right.
And people are like now afraid of clicking links. Anything at all.
I don't click anything at all.
No, I didn't do it. Which makes sense because we're causing the fear. But what if we show them, click the link, see what happens? And especially if we do this in a trusted environment, show them the traits that the criminals are using to take our information, steal our money, steal our passwords. Show them how they're thinking, and then next time they'll be like, "Oh, if I click the link, it's asking me to log in."
Yeah, and you will spread the news and tell your peers, like, I know how they do it.
Yeah.
You become secure.
Yeah. So that you engage the people to think one step further instead of just remain in the fear moment.
Walk out of that house into the dark garden.
Yeah.
And the alligator is not there, but there may be a snake.
You can maybe pet the alligator.
And then I heard a cybersecurity guy, I found it perfect described. He said that I asked him, why do you like HackShield? Because I wanted to know. And he said, well, what I like is that I now have the feeling that I have something that I can fight criminals with the same creativity as they have, because I'm always jealous. Because I am just responding, and they have all the fun in trying new ways to come in. And with HackShield, I have the feeling that I can use creativity and curiosity to fight back.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have one concluding thought, and that thought is about privacy. We have tasted privacy because we were born into it. I know for a fact that going ahead, how long will generations be able to be even experience privacy, or will they even be born into privacy or not? And with this fleeting window or fleeting concept of privacy, because everything's data, and the data is not being owned on your device, it's on somebody else's computer. I mean, we're never going to get out of Google. A few of us can, we'll be hermits and we'll be okay, but society won't be able to get out. We have to learn to live in this situation. What would your thoughts be on trying to live in a world where privacy is dwindling?
So I think one of the most important things is to educate people, make sure that they know all the facts, know the implications of, if I sign up for Google or Instagram or whatever, service you can use nowadays. Make them understand what implications could be, like posting a video, liking a message, what could that be? And maybe even taking a step further, like, do we really want this? Can we also say no to the government, make the government change and actually listen to us? This is I'm not saying this is easy, not at all, because we need a whole society to get a different mindset to also educate on this subject. This is a very difficult and delicate subject for everybody. Everybody has a different opinion, which is fine. But that could be one of the ways where we can.
It's also a good point you brought about consumption. Do we need this? I haven't posted pictures on my Instagram account for over 5 months. I thought I'd post it, but now I just don't feel like posting it anymore. And maybe, if it stays stagnant, I just.
In workshops, I always ask kids, what applications do you use? Like, do you use Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever? And I always remove platforms every single class. It just keeps developing, so that's fun. And I ask them, do you need it? I mean, what if you don't install the app? What if you don't sign up for the account? What if you actually remove your accounts?
Yeah.
But then I'm left out. But then you tell all your classmates to also deinstall, you remove the app, deactivate your accounts. And like a short circuit in their brains. They're like, oh, this is an option?
That was actually how I was when the pandemic hit. I used to travel a lot. I mean, we all did. We used to see each other at different hacker events. And I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to travel anymore. My family thought that this guy's going to go nuts. He's usually on a plane every 3 or 4 weeks, and if he doesn't do that, he'll go nuts, and then he'll drive us nuts. Surprisingly, nothing like that happened. I think because I realized that nobody else is traveling. If I was being left out, I would go nuts and I'd go berserk. It's like, but everybody's having fun and I'm not. But guess what? Nobody's doing it. So
remove the fear of missing out.
Remove the FOMO, remove the fear of missing out, and life was okay. I mean, I had no problems.
Nobody dies.
Nobody dies. But I don't know what it's going to be like now when I go back. I've tasted it again. Cool, folks. Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining me in the studio. I'm championing for you both. I would love to be a part of your journeys informally. I wish you all the best, and I'm hoping we can reconnect again soon, somewhere, and drive, because I'm personally passionate about what both of you do. Thank you once again for joining us.